Hey everyone. Whoa, what was that? Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Aaron Ballantyne and you're watching Life According to Aaron. So in today's video, I'll be talking about how you don't have to force something that's meant to be. You won't have to force something if it's meant for you. And what I mean by that is you find that there are certain things in life that may come easily to you, first and foremost, right? Now, I'm not saying that is meant for you, or it's not meant to be a permanent fixture in life. So it comes easily, it does not mean that it's meant to be a permanent fixture in your life, but it means that it's meant for you. It's meant for you to experience it, it's meant for you to utilize it. So for example, you enter into a new relationship, for example, with someone where the circumstances that led to you meeting the person and being with the person seem astronomical, like out of this world, like the person seems heaven sent, like so many different things had to come together in order for you to be with this person now, right? The person is meant for you in the sense that they might not be your soulmate, they might not be a permanent fixture in your life, but you were meant to experience that person. You were meant to experience being in a relationship with that person. That's what I mean when I said you won't have to force certain things that are meant for you. The same goes for your talents, right? You're given talents, you're given gifts from God. Certain things come easily to you, certain things you're really good at, right? It does not mean that that is what you should be devoting your entire life to. It does not mean that that is what is your permanent fixture. It doesn't mean that that is what you're meant to do for your entire life. It just means that it is a talent or a tool or a resource or a skill that should be used in a particular way to help you progress through life. So you look at it that way. And going back to the whole, you won't have to force something that's meant for you, is that if it is that you're doing something right now that you think is going to bring you the happiness and fulfillment that you envision and you want for yourself, but you're constantly doubting yourself throughout the process. You're constantly having this gut feeling that it feels harder than it needs to be. You're thinking about doing something else constantly you're thinking about doing something else or devoting your time and your energy and your efforts to something else. Odds are what you're doing right now is not meant for you. Certain things indicate to us, either through a gut feeling or a conscience or whatever the case is, that certain things just aren't for us. Like we feel it. For example, if we're in a job that we're just in the job for money, over time, if we're not getting any fulfillment out of it, we'll consistently tell ourselves that it's not for us and we'll work towards something else, something that seemingly comes much easier than having to force yourself to wake up in the morning, having to force yourself to put on a smile and go to work, having to put on, for example, a facade to make sure that you can get through the day. Certain things indicate to us that it's not for us. And let me give you an example of something that is meant for you and it comes easily, right? Something that you don't have to force. I'll use myself as an example. So in 2021, when I decided to start writing my books, the Pursuit series, firstly, it started out with the idea to write one book, right? And I kept getting inspiration and information seemingly from an external source. It didn't seem like it was just coming from me alone. I feel as though it was a divine intervention. But the more information I got, is the more that two other books started taking shape, right? And while those two other books started taking shape, all of them seemed to connect to each other, right? So all of them started being written simultaneously. It felt as though they were being written on autopilot, because whenever I woke up like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to write, or whenever I got a good chunk of word on that was like 2-3 chapters every work session, it seemed as though it was my body, but I wasn't the one writing. It just came naturally, right? I didn't have to force anything. I didn't have to drag myself out of bed. It was like as soon as I heard that first 3 o'clock alarm or that first 4 o'clock alarm, I was up writing. I knew exactly where to pick up from. I knew exactly the direction I wanted to write in, and I just wrote consistently like that. Not only that, when time for marketing and research and publishing, learning how to publish independently, and all of that came into play, the right people started coming into my circle, the right resources started presenting themselves, the right opportunities, everything seemed to fall into place. No, I'm not saying that they just came like that. No. When I started doing research, when I started reaching out, because the action started with me going after it, but it came easier when I started going for it, essentially. So for example, when I reached out to someone to help me improve my image on social media, I reached out to different people and I researched different things, but the right person came through my efforts. Another example would be when I started looking for printers to print the books, right? I asked multiple people, I reached out to multiple places, and the right one, the one that was right for me and convenient for me and affordable for me, presented itself after having reached out to the different people. So I'm saying this to say, when you're on a particular path and you're confident that it is for you, for example, you found your purpose and you're working in your purpose, when you start to employ different routes as it relates to, for example, you're at point A in your journey and you want to get to point Z, when you start employing different routes, you're trying different routes to get to that point Z, you'll find that there's some routes that are more difficult or more treacherous. You just have to choose a different route, because odds are that is you forcing something that should not be. In essence, you're going down a path that is more difficult because it's not meant for you. You have to force yourself down it. For example, if you're pursuing something in life, for example, just to get money, right? And you find that path that you're taking to try and get that money is significantly more difficult, treacherous, that you don't feel like it's for you, but you know that money is on the other end. Odds are you are forcing yourself to go down a path when really and truly you're meant to go down another path to get to that money, right? There are certain indicators in our life that will tell us that there are certain things that either aren't right for us or they're just not meant for us, right? So identify in your daily life the things that stand out as I'm really not meant for this, or this is not for me, or hell no, I'm not going through that. And start to align yourself with the behavior and the actions that would take you off that path and on the path that is seemingly right for you. It makes things so much easier. And I admit that there are certain times when, or certain instances where we're not able to do this immediately, but when you start putting in place certain little things and start taking the little steps towards changing that, because for example, my personal mindset shift from working a job to being a freelancer and an entrepreneur took a whole heap of change and a whole heap of development on my part, because it's not easy going from working a 9 to 5, for example, to having that responsibility of earning your own money consistently on a monthly or however basis on your own. You have to learn different things, you have to adopt a different mindset. But I knew that I didn't want to have to only rely on a job. I wouldn't mind working again in a 9 to 5, but I'm saying having to rely on a 9 to 5 alone, I knew wasn't for me. So I had to create different streams of revenue, and they seemingly fell into place. So that's what I'm encouraging you guys to do. Identify or take stock of your life as it is now. Identify what you feel fulfilled in, identify what you feel most at home at, identify what comes naturally to you, what comes seamlessly to you, what you don't have to force in order to see some change or in order to see something happen, and then start working towards that, because odds are that is the path that is meant for you. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, especially share it with someone who you think might be struggling with something similar, or just share it with anybody, because I believe that this might be helpful to anybody who might be going through something similar. Alright, thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.